We'll go ahead and open it right up for questions for Coach.
Paul, there was some suspensions last year and some issues with Dedrick. Was this just a continuation of what happened last year?
Last year he got suspended for a couple of football violations, football team rules. This was a GT AA rule. So it's, set rules, and when you break them, the punishment is pretty standard.
Does he have a full release, or are you gonna?
Within reason. We've talked a little bit about it. I would try to help him if I can, and for the most part, I can't think of anybody I would block. Maybe it's somebody would play this year or something, but other than that, probably not.
I know last year when he was suspended, you talked about you still think he's a good kid and,
yeah,
and all that stuff.
Still think he's a good kid.
Anything change with?
No, I think he's a good kid. He loves to play football, but sometimes choices have consequences, and you have to make good decisions. And at times, we all make bad decisions sometimes. But like I said, there's consequences when you make bad decisions.
Was it a case of that you give him multiple second chances?
No, it's pretty much cut and dried, the rules. I mean, they kind of are what they are.
Is this something you saw coming, or did it take you by surprise?
Well, I don't think you ever think about this. You're always a little bit surprised when it happens. But, I've coached for 39 years now, and it takes a lot to surprise me. I mean, I've seen a lot of things.
When did you find out?
Today, this morning.
Paul, 17 days away from the opener, how difficult is this on his teammates as much as anybody?
Well, I'm sure that, for right now, it's disappointing. We're disappointed for him, disappointed for his teammates, but you move on. It's next man up. And so you go on and you get ready to play, and it's really no different than if a guy had gotten injured out there and gone down and the next guy has to play. It's kind of the same deal. So, I think that we'll address it today, and we'll move on, and hopefully it'll work out for him and he'll learn from it and be very successful wherever he ends up.
It seemed like he kind of turned his corner. I know he came in early, he was young,
yeah,
had made his mistakes kind of early on, and then it kind of flown right for a while.
He's a good kid. I don't think there's a bad bone in his body. He's a hard worker. He loves to play football. He just made some poor choices.
Were you able to sit with him and kind of give him some guidance on the future?
We talked a little bit. We haven't really gotten into specifics. I kind of went through some options for him and laid those out. And, that's about as far as we got. But certainly I'm here to help him if he wants my help.
The way you're describing this, it sounds like he crossed the line, and there wasn't a decision. It was just a policy that he's.
That's correct. It's policy.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier in the week that you had moved Ponchez Mason to A back. Will he now move back to B back?
Yeah.
In terms of that pecking order, would Jerry be the guy right now?
No.
Quaid?
No. We'll just have to see. You got Gervonta Benson, you got Quaid, you got Jerry. You got Mason. We'll have somebody when we line up against Tennessee. It's when one guy goes down, another guy moves up. Gervonta's injured a little bit. It would be Gervonta if he were out there practicing. So if he can get back out there in time, then somebody would have to beat him out. That's kind of where he was on the depth.
I guess that's the good part of still being 17 days away or whatever. You're able to get reps for guys and get them ready to start.
Anyway, that part of it, I feel bad for him, for Dedrick, but as far as the team goes, we'll have a B back. We've had them before. Since 1985, there have been a lot of different guys line up there.
It seems like you've had different guys step up each year. You've had Dedrick, St. John, guys that have kind of come out that maybe weren't expected before the season.
Hopefully we can get guys coached up and they can go out there and be successful. I see no reason why they can't.
Paul, how did Dedrick handle the news?
He's disappointed. I think, everybody has their way. I think the reality will probably set in a little later. But, it's one of those things. It's if you have rules, you have to enforce them. Otherwise, you don't have them.
Is it legal or is it more of on-campus?
Nah, it's not legal. It's just,
And it's not an NCAA matter?
Nope.
Anything else for Coach?
Would you expect him to go to another FBS school?
you know, we haven't talked about it. I explained to him he's got some options. He can go play right away at FCS. Since he didn't redshirt, he could transfer to an FBS school and sit out a year. Or he could go to JUCO and transfer his hours and graduate and get recruited all over again. Or if he decided that he wanted to stay here and go to school and pay his own way, he could do that.
Is it a rule that you still agree with being in place?
What rule? The rule, well, yeah, as long as I work here, I have to agree with the rules or I wouldn't work here.
It seems like that's been kind of one position where you guys have been snake bit for whatever reason off and on throughout the years with guys like Travis or...
We've lost some guys at that position, but, you know, I think if you go back and you look, every team loses guys once in a while. That's part of it.
Can you, obviously he's a very good player. Can you describe the impact that he thought he was going to have in this team this year?
Well, as you said, I think he's a very good football player. And, you know, with a year under his belt in the system, I expected him to have a great year. Now, I expect the other guy to have a great year, whether it's Cravante or Quaid or Jerry or Mason or whoever it is. Whoever gets in there and plays, I expect them to have 1,000 yards. That's pretty much what that position is.
Any impact on the quarterback thing?
Any impact on the quarterback.
Okay.
Last one for Coach. Anything else?
I'm curious,
We played 4 games without him last year, guys.
Do you have one more?